So dear students, we have already dealt with the till question number 18 of Roman number 2. That is, you have to answer in 80 to 100 words. And now I am going to continue from question number 19. What are the views of Borges on blindness? So what does he say about blindness? Borges defines blindness as a way of life that is not entirely unhappy. He also calls it a resource because he believes that all things have been given to us for a purpose. And an artist must feel this more intensely. He believes that all that happens to us, including humiliations, our misfortunes, and our embarrassments, are given to us as raw material, as clay, so that we may shape our art, eternal work, or work that aspires to be so. Therefore, he has taken blindness as a way of life, which is not entirely unhappy. So, for him, blindness is not, that doesn't make him unhappy. He feels that every life has a purpose, and the difficulties that God gives us in life also have purpose. That is what he is saying in this poem. He believes that it is his duty to accept it as far as possible and enjoy it. Question number 20. How has the bicycle brought a total change in the lives of rural women, as shown in Where There Is a Wheel? The introduction of a cycling in the Padukottai district has brought about a tremendous change in the lives of rural women. Cycling has offered a way out of enforced routines around male imposed barriers. Andre male society has kept some barriers for us. Adu ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಇದು ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಅವರು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬ್ಯಾರಿಯರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. But these children, because of this cycling, they are going against all such barriers. The rural women in particular have gained a great deal of confidence on account of their learning cycling. Earlier, they used to be burdened with economic as well as social or familial obligations. Many young mothers had to help the menfolk in earning the family income as well as do domestic chores like tending the children and fetching water from remote places. Even to sell their agriculture produce in nearby villages, they had to carry their produce to the bus stop with the help of their menfolk. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ಡಿಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ನೋ did not have their own vehicle. They had to wait for others. Suddenly they had to come back within a fixed time to tend the little kids at home and to store or fetch water from remote places. Naturally, though they were capable of doing all these duties on their own, their immobility created a big hurdle. ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿತ್ತು, ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿತ್ತು, ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿತ್ತು. ಆದರೆ women were able to do so. But what was happening is that if at all they had to wait for others to go from one place to another, they had to waste their time. Okay, so this immobility created a big obstacle for them. They had to walk long distances to fetch water and sell their produce. After learning cycling, such women become free and independent. This gave them a lot of confidence. Moreover, the ability to ride bicycle gave them a lot of self-respect. Now this learning bicycle gave them a lot of, ಅವರಿಗೆ ತಮ್ಮಲ್ಲೇ ಆತ್ಮವಿಶ್ವಾಸವನ್ನು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿತ್ತು. Next question number 21. Everyone is full of praise for Marcus Sibe. What qualities and achievements attracted the people to praise him in the vote? Marcus Sibe was a not too successful mission school teacher. When he was almost on the verge of dismissal on the basis of a female teacher's complaint, he joined politics, got elected as a representative of Umofia and was made Minister of Culture. Okay. People referred to him as Chief the Honorable Minister of Culture. In a period of 5 years, Marcus became very wealthy, was given many chieftaincy titles and doctorate degrees and several other honors. He got a huge mansion built in Umofia and named it Umofia Mansions and got it opened by the Archbishop. On the day of the opening, he hosted a grand lunch to the people of the village, slaughtering 5 bulls and countless goats. After feasting in his house, people were full of praise for him. They opined that he was a great man and does his things like a great man. He also owned 2 big cars. Question number 22. Give an account of the complicated way of bowing in Japan. The writer George Mikes remarks that for the Japanese people, bowing has become a mania. Mania andre ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯ habit, okay, madness. However, he also speaks in an appreciative tone and says that the people bow to each other with the solemnity of a courtier, yet with a great deal of natural and inimitable grace. Besides, he also says that the Japanese follow a complicated hierarchy in bowing. This system decides who bows to whom, how deeply, for how long. Though it is a little complicated to us, the Japanese manage it without difficulty and subtly and reflect it in their bowing. Even the smallest difference in rank, standing, age and social position in a split second. ಸೊ ಹೇಗಿತ್ತು, ಅವರು ಹೇಗೆ ಬೌವಿಂಗನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದರು ಜಪಾನಲ್ಲಿ, ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಮಾಡಲಾಗಿದೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದ ಥರ್ಡ್ ರೋಮನ್ ನಂಬರ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇನ್ 200 words. Okay, here also options have been given to you. 3 options are there in one question. You have to choose only one. So you have to answer only one question of 6 marks. How did Romeo and Juliet express their romantic love feelings to each other in the poem Romeo and Juliet? Or, in spite of their efforts, the king and his team failed in punishing the criminal. How is it narrated in the story Two Deer? Or, everything is fair in love and war. How do you substantiate this statement relating to the attitude of Donna Laura and Don Gonzalo in the play A Sunny Morning? So, answer. The 2 stanzas in the poem, one by Romeo and the other by Juliet, highlight the intensity of love of the young lovers. This intensity of love is brought out by using the contrasting imagery of day and night, black and white, bright jewel and a dark surface, snowy dove, etc. Factually speaking, the words bright and night appear in Romeo's praise for Juliet's brightness when he sees her for the first time in the feast hosted by Lord Capulet. Romeo uses the phrase snowy dove to refer to and to distinguish Juliet from the other ladies in the room. Romeo uses the word crows to refer to the other ladies in the room. Furthermore, Romeo compares Juliet's brightness with a red jewel hanging upon the cheek of an Ethiopian seer. Romeo uses these words to highlight her beauty. It also symbolizes the emotional intensity that he shows towards Juliet. Similarly, Juliet uses the phrase day and night and winter whiter than new snow on a raven's back to refer to Romeo. Suddenly, she uses the word stars in the night sky to refer to Romeo. Literally speaking, both the meetings between Romeo and Juliet take place at night. Secondly, their meeting has to be closely guarded secret because of the hostility and the enmity. Hostility ಅಂದರೆ enmity, ಅವರ ಶತ್ರುತ್ವ, ಅವರ ನಡುವೆ ಇದ್ದ 2 ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಗಳ ನಡುವೆ ಇದ್ದ ಶತ್ರುತ್ವ that exists between the 2 and families of Montagues and Capulets. When Romeo goes to the Capulets party, he goes wearing a mask at night. Similarly, he promises to meet Juliet in the chamber on the wedding night, so as not to be seen by anyone. That is why the word night symbolically stands for secrecy and caution that needs to be exercised in their love affair. Thus, the playwright has used the word black and night to strengthen the emotional situation that is there. Okay, everywhere it is used night. Thematically speaking, the words day and night, black and white, night and raven are used to evoke the image of death, whereas white dove is a symbol of purity, peace and love. A raven or black crow is considered a bird of ill omen. Furthermore, when I shall die and cut him out in little stars and heaven are expressions that clearly refer to death and immortality. Immortal in the ನಾಶವಿಲ್ಲದ್ದು. Thus, the playwright is hinting that the secret love affair between the two rivals will culminate in the tragic death of Romeo and Juliet. It can also be inferred that probably Juliet has a premonition of their impending death because of the fatal attraction between them and the enmity that exists between the two families. Thus, the contrasting imagery serves to highlight the intensity of their love. ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಮೇಜನರಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವರ ನಡುವೆ ಇದ್ದ ಲವ್ ಅನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಪೋಯೆಟ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್, ಆರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬಿನ್ ಗಿವನ್. What is the question here? In spite of all the efforts, the king and his team failed to punishing the criminal. How is it narrated in the story? Too dear. So soon after the king had ordered imprisonment for life as the punishment, the ministers with great difficulty managed to find a place to keep the criminal imprisoned. They put him in it and placed a guard to watch over him. This way the criminal spent 1 year in prison. This arrangement cost the king 600 francs a year. When the king thought over it, it struck him that the criminal was young and may live for another 50 years. The king became apprehensive about the cost of keeping the criminal imprisoned for life. ಹೀಗೆ ಇಟ್ಟರೆ ಅವನು ಎಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷ ಬದುಕ್ತಾನೆ, ಅದರ ಖರ್ಚು ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವನು ಚಿಂತಿಸಿದ. Therefore, he summoned his ministers and asked them to find a cheaper way of punishing the criminal. The ministers met and discussed the issue and came to the conclusion that the only way to save money was to dismiss the guard. They believed that the criminal would run away and their problem would be solved. The king agreed to their suggestion and the guard was dismissed accordingly. However, they waited curiously to see what the criminal would do. The criminal came out of his prison at dinner time, collected his food from the palace kitchen and returned to the prison, shut the door on himself and stayed inside. Later, the minister of justice asked him why he had not run away, as there was no guard to watch over him. They even assured him that the prince would not mind his running away. But the prisoner told him that he had nowhere to go, as his character has been ruined and people would turn their backs on him. The third question, there is some more. Moreover, he had forgotten the habit of working, and so if he ran away, he would be forced to work to earn his living. The ministers met once more and discussed the matter seriously. It struck them that the only way to get rid of him was to offer him a pension. The king gave his consent and they finally got rid of him by offering a pension of 600 francs a year. The prisoner received 1/3 of his annuity in advance and left the king's dominions. Thus, in spite of all the efforts, the king and his team failed in punishing the criminal. So, ಹೇಗೆ ಅವರು ಫೇಲ್ ಆದರು ಪನಿಷ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಕ್ರಿಮಿನಲಿಗೆ ಫೈನಲಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್, ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಫೇರ್ ಇನ್ ಲವ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಾರ್. How do you substantiate this statement relating to the attitudes of Donna Laura and Donna Gonzalo in the play A Sunny Morning? What is the meaning of the question? Everything is fair in love and war. How do you substantiate? ಅಂದರೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಫೇರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಇವನ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಫೈಟ್, ಇಫ್ ದೆರ್ ಇಸ್ ಲವ್, ಆಲ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಫೈನ್. A Sunny Morning presents the story of Don Gonzalo and Donna Laura, who were ardent lovers in their youth, but were torn apart in life by fate. They are now in their 70s. The very lovers meet as total strangers unexpectedly in a park in Madrid. As the play begins, Donna Laura is seen in the park feeding pigeons with breadcrumbs. It is at this point an old man enters with his attendant. The old man is none other than Don Gonzalo, who is seen to be quite irritated as he finds no bench in the park vacant. Quite grudgingly he comes near Laura and shares her bench. Laura gets infuriated as the old man has scared the pigeons she was feeding and calls him an ill-natured man. With her witty remarks, she makes his tongue tied and helpless. But after a few moments of disagreement, both of them have a pinch of snuff and reconcile with each other. ಅಷ್ಟು ಫೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಅವರು ಸ್ನಫ್ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಅವರೊಬ್ಬರನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರು ದೇ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಒನ್. Okay, they forget the fight. Gonzalo says that he is from Valencia, and to his surprise, Laura reveals that she is from Maricela. Gonzalo is startled by the revolution, and he says that he has known a woman, Laura Lorente, who lived in a villa there, who was perhaps the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. So now they reveal each other's identity. They come to know that they are loved in their youthful days. Both Laura and Gonzalo realize that they were the very same young lovers once, but they pretend not to reveal their identities. Though both of them have changed a lot physically, they still cherish the memories of their adventurous youth. Though initially they appear to be cynical, fussy, and ill natured, soon they become friends. When they discover that they were lovers once in their youth, they relive their romantic feelings as before and pretend not to recognize their earlier selves. Like young people, they live in a dream world of their own and are reluctant to come back to the world of reality. They are atrocious lies to defend their previous actions and exit with the promise to meet the next day. Okay, the next question is read the following passage, answer the questions set on it. You are having 10 questions there, so 10 marks for you. This I will not be doing because reading paragraph, each time the paragraph is different, there is no use of doing it. We shall continue in the next video the same question paper.